we gotta do that. We can have an annual meeting.
I'm hoping we can pass those. We're pretty sure we can.
Oh, this is November's. Okay, hang on. I'll think about this for a second.
Did you ever look at, I think it's just 4 people in general. But also,
It says a quorum is 4 members.
yeah.
And there's 4 of us here tonight that was here at this meeting, so
And it says that
then we
a
can,
majority of 4 members voting in affirmative shall be required.
But that, it is not necessarily a requirement that the members that were present be the ones voting on it.
It helps, but yeah.
It helps.
with Ms. Williams being absent, Mr. Patel being absent, and he's no longer here, now we're down to
4,
that were here.
yeah.
You know,
We
they-
only have 4
This,
left.
this, this goes back to, the one we did a year ago, last January or something. The Board of Zoning Adjustments, it's in the minutes for that one, okay. Anything we need to do? I got 6. Everything's ready? Okay. It's 6 o'clock. I call the January 14th meeting of the Sherwood Planning Commission to order. Please call the roll.
Patel,
Here.
Clough,
Here.
Martin,
Here.
Williams,
Here.
Jones,
Here.
Hoskin,
Here.
Evans, Dellery.
Here.
We do have a new member joining us tonight. This is his first meeting, so why don't you introduce yourselves to us?
Sure. My name is Damian Evans Dellery. I have been a resident of Sherwood for at least about 7 or 8 years now, if not longer than that. I am a small business owner in Sherwood. I'm co-owner of the local flower shop, and also just really, really passionate about economic development as a whole. So I am really excited to be a part of this body and to work with you all.
Well, glad to have you.
Approval of December 10th, 2024 meeting minutes.
Yep, the December 10th, 2024 meeting. Y'all do have a copy of those minutes in your packet. Is there any additions, corrections to those minutes?
I make a motion to approve December 10th meeting.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right.
Patel,
Aye.
Clough,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Williams,
Here.
Jones,
Abstain.
Hoskin,
Abstain.
Evans, Dellery.
Abstain.
403.
Approval of agenda.
Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda? Has it been, no, seeing none, we'll call it as it stands. Next item on the agenda, please.
Election of chairman.
Per the bylaws, this is an annual event. It happens every January meeting. And I'll open the floor to nominations.
I nominate Blake Martin for chairman.
I second that.
Any more nominations? Seems we have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Patel,
Aye.
Clough,
Aye.
Martin,
Abstain.
Williams. Aye. Jones,
Aye.
Hoskin,
Aye.
Evans, Dellery.
Aye.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, please.
Election of vice chair.
Again, this is an annual thing in every January to vote somebody in. I'll open the floor to nominations for this position.
I'll nominate Gary.
Any more nominations?
I'll second the
Okay,
nomination.
all right. Any more nominations? None? You got a motion and a second on that
Patel.
nomination?
Aye.
Clough,
Abstain.
Martin,
Aye.
Williams. Aye. Jones,
Aye.
Hoskin,
Aye.
Evans, Dellery.
Aye.
All right. Item number 7, please.
Conditional use permit at 14912 Highway 107 for a fire station.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
All right, so this evening we have a conditional use permit request. The applicant is requesting the operation of a fire station at 14912 Highway 107. This is the former Hum's Hardware location. The reason for the application is that the use is not permitted by right in the district, but it is by conditional use. After review of the application in coordination with the applicant, staff does recommend approval of the request with let me see how many conditions we have. We have 8 recommended conditions. An 8-foot wooden privacy fence shall be required extending from the 40-foot building setback line to the rear property line along the north property line in lieu of evergreen plantings, and a 6-foot privacy fence. The existing structure, which the applicant does intend to use, is very close to the property line, so we're recommending some additional screening there to protect abutting properties. The ratio of tree planting along vehicular use areas shall be increased to 1 tree per 20 linear feet to offset the lack of buffering landscaping along that north property line we just discussed. The buffering and screening along the eastern property line shall meet all the requirements and shall additionally include trees planted at a frequency of 1 tree per 30 linear feet. Fencing along the east property line shall be at least 110 feet in length and extend from the north property line, intended to extend the entirety of the property line. Landscaping shall be provided to buffer the fuel tank concrete pad. That fuel tank concrete pad will be, I'm not sure if the pad is there or not, but they are proposing an addition to the structure on the south side, I believe. No building-mounted lighting shall be allowed on the north and east sides of the existing structure, which doesn't apply to the addition. All lighting shall be arranged on the site to be directed downward and inward to the site, and the approved site plan shall meet the 35% building lot coverage requirement, or the applicant shall obtain approval in the form of a variance for the building lot coverage requirements. The application will, of course, have to go through site development review if it meets with approval of a conditional use permit. Any questions?
So with the addition, is it above the 35%? Is that
I
why?
believe it, with the addition pushes it to right around 37%. It's just a little bit over, yes.
Okay. So-
Let's see. The addition is proposed at 1,193 square feet.
Any questions, comments, discussion? Motion to approve? Hang on. Oh, you're right. Thank you, Mr. Cobb. This is a public hearing, so if anyone would like to come speak for or against the item, if you please sign in and do so. Seeing none, I'll call the public hearing closed. Now you can do it. Motion to approve. Hang on.
Based on,
With the 8 conditions outlined?
Second.
Okay. You have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Patel,
aye.
Clef, Martin,
Aye.
Williams, Jones,
Aye.
Hoskin,
Aye.
Evans Delry.
Aye.
Planned unit development for single-family residences on East Maryland.
Mr. Walden?
Hello. Since we've got some new commissioners, and this is a relatively new, or not a new, but a less common type of application, I thought I would let you guys know real quickly. A plan unit development is essentially a development plan and a rezone all in one. And so the development plan that the applicant submits, effectively based on what they're proposing and then what sort of gets reviewed by staff and conditions imposed by staff, conditions imposed by planning commission, and conditions imposed by city council, that ends up being the actual zoning for the property. So it becomes a separate designation in the code for that. So we got a bunch of details on there. So this application, it's on the north side of Maryland. If you're coming from Brockington, it's that first large vacant property that's on the north side, so on the right-hand side. They're proposing a 103 lot subdivision for single-family detached and single-family attached development. They're requesting it as a PUD. It's a 28 acre, just under a 28 acre parcel. This does, since it is a rezoning to a PUD, it does require public hearing, public notification requirements were met. The property is indicated on Vision Sherwood 2040 as office buffer, which is appropriate to sort of the proposed uses that range anywhere from single-family detached development all the way up to light commercial. On the master street plan, the property is designated as a minor arterial. They've already dedicated the minimum right-of-way for that, and it is improved out to sort of the extent of what it is going to be improved to for the foreseeable future. In terms of analysis of the application, we went through a couple of rounds of comments with the applicant. They are intending to dedicate, they're intending to dedicate a tract that is where current power line easement is, where the future power line trail will go through. They intend to dedicate that as part of it. They meet all of the open space requirements. And additionally, the amenity requirements in terms of that sort of a green space dedication where it's going to have additionally the green space dedication, the large open areas, and then also they're going to provide a connection to the trail itself from the neighborhood, which is an additional amenity with that. The staff recommendation for the application is for approval of the requested PUD zoning plan contingent on and with the following final development plan conditions and contingencies to be addressed. That first condition is development is limited to single-family detached and single-family attached dwellings, not to exceed 7 dwelling units per acre. Any provision not expressly addressed in the PUD zoning plan would comply with the requirements of the R1 zoning district. That includes signage. That is our kind of our base residential district. Exterior finish materials would be limited to those materials that the applicant indicated that they'd be using. The bill of assurance would be provided and will provide a mechanism to fund maintenance of all private roads and common shared amenities and improvements, including Tract F, unless it's dedicated in its entirety to the city of Sherwood. Tract F is the property that's being indicated to be dedicated. A homeowners association would be legally established prior to the issuance of any building permits. The homeowners association would be the mechanism through which they would be providing for maintenance. All the internal streets would be labeled as private. All building construction would meet the minimum requirements of the Arkansas Fire Prevention Code. That is because they are proposing 0 lot lines, and so normally the spacing between structures would be 10 feet unless you have firewall construction, and so there'll be places where it is 10 feet apart, and there'll be places where it's not, and they'll just have to comply with fire code in those instances. And then the entire property would be platted in accordance with the City of Sherwood subdivision regulations. Those are the conditions of approval. And then there are 2 contingencies to be addressed on the zoning plan prior to approval by the City Council. And these were 2 outstanding comments from staff. The one was naming of street segments in conformance with addressing requirements and 911 standards. I think that was changing Piedra Court to Piedra Place. And then the fire marshal had a comment regarding Track D, which is where they propose a sort of a fire access road that would be converted to a street connection from the existing cul-de-sac design. And I'll kind of highlight this a little bit in the plan so that you guys can, when we're talking about that particular location, we're talking about that as Tract D. So the correction would be based on the fire marshal's comment is making that into a street connection from a cul-de-sac. This is a little bit of a tricky one because we're bringing it forward to you. The only person that can say yay or nay as to whether or not this is a street is the fire marshal. So that is not something that you can vary from on their decision, his decision on that. So it's a little bit weird, but we did confirm prior to finalization of the staff report that the fire marshal was not going to change his mind on that particular issue. So, are there any questions on this, the application?
This does call for a public hearing, so if anybody would like to speak for or against it, have you signed in, sir?
Yeah, I've just got some questions. Actually, it's not necessarily for or against.
All right, please state your name and your address for the record.
Robert Davidson, 232 Feldspar, Sherwood, Arkansas. I read the application. I just got it today because we were on vacation when the notification came out, so I had a few questions. It talked about a possible fence line that they were working at in development. Also had questions about an HOA. If that folds, who's going to pay for the streets to be repaired? Because I've seen other neighborhoods when the HOA folds, the roads go to, they're just bad. And I don't necessarily want a neighborhood right behind my house bringing my property value down. I mean, it's basically, it is what it is. I don't know if somebody's here to answer these questions, but I was just curious about a timeline, because I've lived there for over 18 years, and this is the first they're renewing. So it's kind of, I don't know if they're planning 6 months, a year, 15 years. I read the stuff, and there just seemed like a whole lot of vague information, to be completely honest. And I was wondering if there was somebody that can direct me to a few answers. Along the lines of setbacks, I'm assuming we're talking about the size of the lots because they're not very big. It's supposed to be 10 feet between houses. We're going to put them right next to each other. Is that what that means? And the last thing, I guess you're just going to take and sell the lots, correct? It's not going to a development committee. We're just going to put a neighborhood in there and then sell it. Okay. Yeah, those are just a few of my questions that I'd like to have answered. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Blake, do you want me to go ahead and
Yeah,
answer that?
yeah, answer whatever you can, Mr. Ward.
The first question, I think, related to the existence of an HOA. One of the conditions that exists within the code is that the HOA itself cannot be discharged unless the city approves its discharge. Additionally, the HOA has to be set up with a mechanism to where the fees that are imposed, that annual assessment, varies based upon the needs of the maintenance needs of the HOA. It's not a 100% perfect solution. I'll say that. The city cannot mandate the creation of an improvement district, although an improvement district is a little bit better than a HOA from that standpoint because it's collected on taxes. But it is about as the best mechanism that you can have for the maintenance of those facilities. So, Mr. Cobb, the complexities of what you get into after if something happened, I don't know. That's a lot of say-a-man situations, but.
Well, I was looking at those regulations earlier today, and they're written in such a fashion as to try to protect that issue from occurring, as best I recall.
Additionally, in terms of the question regarding setbacks, the applicant is proposing, I believe, let me see here. Where's it on the plan? Where's it at? Where's that at? Yeah. The front setback is proposed as 10 on the front, and then sides at 0 or equal to the easement if shown. So it is noted in the plan. So that would be, you would have essentially either a single-family detached style home that's placed with what you'd have 5-foot side setbacks, or you'll have them where it's single-family attached townhouse type development, where you've got structures placed together that meet those requirements. Mr. Chairman, do you want the applicant to address ownership questions or anything else?
Yeah, if he's here and can speak to those.
John Pownell with Thomas Engineering Company, and I'll address whatever questions you have. One thing was about the construction of it, and what we plan on doing is possibly this summer. You know, it'll take a while to develop plans and everything, and then start construction in the summer. I believe that was one of his questions. And he talked about fences. We plan on having a fence on the east side and the north side, and then along the frontage road there too. There'll probably a fence too along the power line there along the backs of those lots on the west side too. So that would give people privacy from the trail. Anybody that would want to access the trail, they couldn't do that to their backyards. I don't know what else. The ownerships of them will be, each lot will have their own owner, just like a regular single family. You know, some of them will be attached, some of them will be detached, but the ownerships will be individuals. I don't know if any other questions.
So, based on his concern in the backside, it will be a fence, but then, like, he can see over on the other side. I mean, there's gonna be a fence, but there's not going to be easement between that. It's just going to be
Well, our
So
setbacks
what-
on the,
what
on
I'm
the,
trying to get is, these lots are referred to that's already built, right?
Yes.
That's where yearly, right? Right here?
I live on the top, up on the top.
He lives across the power line,
Oh, okay.
across the track.
Okay.
And that's another question, is the city gonna actually put that in, or they're just gonna leave it, because it's just been a dirt for 18 years? I'm not trying to be difficult. I just,
yeah, he's gonna do that. Right.
yeah, and I'm not opposed to it, I just have a
Now,
lot of
there's,
questions.
My question is right here, these are lot referring to the other
Yeah,
subdivisions, right?
yeah. Mr. Pownell just said he was
Yes.
gonna build a fence there.
Fence there, but then they'll be sharing a fence, right? Between, there's no easement on it? Okay.
Doesn't look like that.
But on the fence that we're talking about building, is that gonna be a fence that's owned by the HOA?
Yes,
So
yeah.
the HOA will be responsible
Yeah,
for maintaining it?
right.
Okay.
and we have a 25-foot setback there too on the north side, which would be on your right of that picture there. And on the bottom of the picture, that's on the east side, will be a 25-foot setback there also. That's because, they have the apartments to the east, which is on the south, on the bottom side there. And on the right side there, those are existing homes there, so we wanted to have at least a setback of 25 feet over there also. And of course, we have the power line on the top of that picture there, so there'll be some green space between our lots and the existing lots on the top side of that picture.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pownell. Is there any more comments or questions from the public? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Monica Whitfield, and I live at 208 Feldspar. I just asked about, right behind my house is where the trail is currently, but there's also a water ditch that runs beside my house that floods regularly. I am very concerned that once you start building all of this, that water will not have any place to go. and will flood my yard even more. It's already eroded my neighbor's entire fence line to where it's just kind of hanging over the side. I'm concerned about all this building happening, and then there's nowhere for that water to go, except back into our property. And that's not our ditch, that's not maintained by us, that's something that's maintained by the city. So how will this affect what is already happening there? And will that be something, who do we address that with?
Mr. Weldon, you want to, but as far as the drainage design, that will happen with Mr. Powell now during his plan development after this process, that will be reviewed by the city.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I assume you live on, you're either on lot 10 or 11.
I have no idea, because I don't know what this is.
10,
So
okay.
you were at 200.
She's south of the
Right,
creek.
it floods. That, when it rains, it stays wet over there.
So they're not developing, they've got track E right there on their, I was trying to see how wide it was, that it's probably 60, 70 feet wide, I'm guessing, because there's not a dimension. That it's gonna be undeveloped along the creek that is.
Okay.
Yeah,
So along that lines, there won't be anything,
no,
will there be anything built directly behind those apartments that are on the other side of the woods?
yes. The lots on the bottom side of the picture here touch the apartments.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that doesn't. I'm not sure how that doesn't affect.
I can show you. That's all right. I mean, I looked at it.
Help me understand.
Okay, this is Phelps Square.
Mm-hmm.
This line right here is the power lines. This is your house right here, so this one or this one, right? That's the drain that comes through and floods.
Yeah.
They're not building a house right here, so they're gonna have all this come in, go into this, they're calling it green space, but that's gonna be a swamp for the most
Right.
part, and then they'll have to run it and force it out the other. Now, these are all houses, this is the apartment complex, these are all houses, 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 houses. It's just a big circle,
Okay.
if that makes sense. Sorry.
It does.
Right.
Thank you. Thank
Right.
you.
Anyone else have a comment or a question? I'll close the public hearing at this time.
Mr. Chair, I did
Yes, sir.
want to make sure is clear with this. This item will be re-reviewed by the Planning Commission. So what it is at this stage is this is a zoning plan. So it's basically locking in what they're able to develop, what they have the legal authority to develop. The next step in the process if that is approved or after that is approved, is then the engineer, the applicant, would develop sort of construction drawings for this, the preliminary plat application. That is the point at which the full engineered design would be evaluated, the drainage
Drainage,
calculations,
right.
all of those things that would be evaluated at that time.
Right.
So James, will all of that happen before it goes to the council?
No, no. So when it goes to council, the effect of council approval is essentially rezoning the property.
No, I mean in terms of the process, if this is approved tonight, we haven't done one of these in a while, I'm just trying to remember the procedure. Will it go on to council now, or does it go back to that process you were just talking about?
No, so what the process is, they would make the corrections of the contingencies that are listed on the approval. Once those corrections are made, then it gets placed on council agenda. If council approves it, then the processing of the preliminary plat application begins, just like you would if it were an R1 property.
Okay.
It goes through that same development process. It's just on this, the front end of the process is essentially sketching out a design for what the zoning is gonna be on it in terms of, are they gonna be public streets, private streets?
Is
How
that
many-
something, though, that's gonna be put together? I mean, our deadline is next Tuesday. Are you envisioning that would be an ordinance or a rezoning ordinance that's gonna be on this month's agenda? Or,
If they provide if they provide the contingency, because it would essentially, what would be in the contingent plan amendment, it is not the full preliminary plat application or anything along those lines. It's what they've already submitted along with what the staff report is in ordinance form.
okay, so if they do that, then you can get something to us for the agenda.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And just so that I'm clear, once city council approves it, and they come up with their plat and everything, that comes back to us again to approve that?
Correct.
The site plan, basically?
Yes.
Yes.
The
Yes.
preliminary plat will come back to y'all. Y'all review that. It gets reviewed by the city engineer, goes through that approval process. Then they're given, sort of granted the blessing to go out and construct it. Once they've constructed it, then it gets inspected. For particularly what is based on what the original design was. The main interest that the city would have in that situation is the drainage design, not as much on the streets, since the streets are gonna be privately maintained. But once they've installed all of the improvements, then they coordinate with the planning and permitting office, and they file an application for a final plat and confirm that we've confirmed that they do everything, and then we bring the final plat back to you all for review and approval.
So we've got 2 more times to approve this?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Any more discussion? All right. Do we have a motion?
One thing, before you,
Yes, Mr.
one
Conley?
thing that the fire marshal was asking for was a better connection there where that cul-de-sac is, instead of having a cul-de-sac, just having a regular street there. And I've talked to the owner about that, and he's agreeable to that. So if that's okay with you, we can eliminate the cul-de-sac and just have another connection there, as the fire marshal requested.
Connection to the Maryland?
Yes, connection to Maryland.
And if we approve it tonight with those contingencies approved,
Yep,
you'll have to get it done by Tuesday to get it on January's council meeting.
we can do that.
Okay. All right.
No, I have one.
Yeah.
One question.
Yes, sir.
On that second connection they're gonna give to the Maryland, in this one, the main entrance has a proposed gate. At that, we'll have a proposed gate too?
I would assume the answer, yeah, Mr. Pownell saying yes.
Okay,
Be a gate there as well, he's saying.
okay.
All right. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve with staff comments and approval of the fire marshal's request for the second entrance.
Second that.
Patel,
Aye.
Clough,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Williams. Jones.
Aye.
Hoskin.
Aye.
Evans Delry.
Aye.
All right, under old business, we have the November 18th, 2024 called meeting minutes that were in your packet. In December, we did not have enough members present that were at that meeting to review and approve those, so we do have enough this evening. So if you've had a chance to review those, any comments or corrections to them? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Patel,
Abstain.
Clough,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Williams,
Abstain.
Jones. Hoskin.
Aye.
Evans Delry.
Abstain.
All right. Under old business, we have the building design standards.
We
Mr.
are
Walden.
working to wind that through staff review before
Okay.
we bring that to you, so we should have something for you next month.
Okay, thank you, sir.
But looking forward to something with more flexibility.
All right. Something to look forward for February's meeting. Is there any new business? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Patel.
Aye.
Clough.
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Williams. Jones.
Aye.
Hoskin. Evans Dillery.
Aye.
On to the next one. All right, so we're,
The PUD kind of